Good afternoon, everyone. This is Abdallah Jouaid, finance reporter at CNN Business Arabic, with 8 years experience in crypto, stock markets, startups, and billionaires. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to IBW's team for inviting me here for the first time to moderate this panel. Thank you to our esteemed speakers also. We're going to talk about the digital payments and the future of digital payments in general. Trust me, it's going to be an insightful session. Please, let's start by introducing yourselves and the companies that you represent. Please.
I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm Anil, CEO of Bitpace, a London-based cryptocurrency payment and settlement company. So we have licenses in different countries. So basically, we are the middleman buying and selling cryptocurrency and settling with global clients.
Thank you. Mr. Nikola, please.
So I actually run a foundation. I don't know what I'm doing on this panel, to be honest with you. No, I'm kidding. So my name is Nikola Stojanow, and I co-founded Eternity blockchain back in 2016. It was one of the fastest unicorns back then. We scaled it to, I think, 1.25 billion in a matter of 7 months. Following that, I left the company and went into venture capital, did about 140 investments in the early stage space. And about 6 to 7 months ago, I came back and took over the foundation head position in order to finish what I didn't finish back in the days.
Thank you so much. Mr. Evren, please.
Evren, Canturk. I'm heading digital assets and tokenization in Misyon Investment Bank, which is a new investment bank in Turkey. Actually, this digital assets and tokenization title is a very trendy new title for banking sector. So I'm happy to carry this title. And as the bank, we are a new bank focusing on investments, digital investments, new generation investment banking, and a main area, blockchain. As a main area, investments in blockchain is an important focus for our banking services.
Thank you so much. Please.
Hi, this is Esra Ozdemir. I'm from EY Turkiye. I am the head of the blockchain desk in Turkey. We have a couple of blockchain tools, and other than that, we also work in compliance, audit, and everything that's related with the audit and consultancy company. So that's all for me now.
Thank you. Okay, my first question is for each one of you. I'll start with you, please. How do you foresee the digital payments in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so cryptocurrency definitely will be in it. So it will be an integrated service with the traditional finance. So what I see, the digital wallets in our phones will be more popular. So its expectations are like 60% of the people in the world population will use digital wallets. So if you check the Africa, an example, so half of the continent are using internet, and 75% of them connected to internet via mobile phones. So it's like average of the world average, 15% above the world average. So I assume the digital wallets like Apple Pay or the Google will continue to increase the demand. But surprisingly, the use of digital wallets in the UK, for example, where I live, is like 44%. So there's still too much way to just complete. So I assume cryptocurrencies will be integrated too. If you check this Telegram or WeChat, they are having more than 1 billion users. Just WeChat has more than 1 billion users. So this peer-to-peer transfers will be more popular. It's already very popular in China, and I assume it will be very popular in Turkey and the UK too soon.
Okay, do you agree?
You know, when we talk about that far down the line, it's incredibly hard to say what's going to happen. I mean, look how things are changing in a matter of 6 to 12 months in this space. It's just continuously, everything is becoming faster, everything is becoming more hyped, everything is somehow becoming confusing almost. You know, like back in the days, it was incredibly straightforward. You would have a blockchain. On top of that, you would have applications. You know, usually it was a wallet if you were lucky enough. and then you would start building applications that you would link with that. Now everything has sped up so fast, and it's continuing to grow that things are just, in my opinion, we should be talking about what's going to happen in 1 to 2 years, not 5 to 10 years. And for me, what I see has been happening with, leave aside Nika in Europe, leave aside what is happening in the US. I see a profound growth of people starting to understand that in the blockchain space in itself, there's more than, meme coins, DeFi, NFTs, and I don't know, social fi, digital assets, etc. pp. But in its essence, it's pretty simple. I can transact with somebody in a very, very basic way, funds or value, without an intermediary, right? And that is starting to grow. And I think that, because I've built a lot of infrastructure over the last years, I see that there's certain things that are now starting to crystallize. And especially larger companies are starting to understand that it's not about how hyped your blockchain is, but it is about, do you have a robust, secure, resilient, and fast blockchain that can actually withstand, I don't know, Visa's payload, for example, or MasterCard or something like this. If you can fulfill those things, like in our case, we built off-chain transactions that were called state channels, so you would, rather than scaling it per se, you would be able to put them in parallel, which allows you to infinitely scale. So if you can cater to that need, then you're primed to be able to move with the trend and be part of it. Otherwise, I genuinely believe that we're starting to get stuck in a place where people come and go very easily. They come, they lose money or anything else. They get disappointed and they move on to something else. So with that in place, for me, over the next 2 years, I genuinely believe that big sectors like healthcare, supply chain, all those things that we've been talking about for years, now are finally primed to be ripe and to be taken into account.
Thank you. Mr. Evren, I know that you are truly optimistic about that, but where do you see the digital payments in the 5 to 10 next years?
Yeah, actually, I believe that over the next 5 or 10 years, payments with asset tokens, real-world asset tokens, are poised to become the mainstream. Everything will be paid with the representation of digital assets, digital assets representing the real-world assets. So currently, the main payment unit is currencies, money. But now cryptocurrencies also become a unit of payment. But the next step, the real payment method in next 5 to 10 years will be tokens representing real-world assets. So tokenizing the real estate, securities, arts, everything will bring these kind of assets to payments area. So this will be the revolutionary thing for payments in next decade.
Thank you. Mrs. Esra, please. I'm sure we are waiting to hear your insights about that.
Thank you. Well, I think 5 to 10 years is a very long scale to look at, but once we go there, I'm definitely sure there will be an exponential growth already happened. But in the next 5 years, until we come there, when I take a look, it's gonna go up because yes, we're struggling with the regulations right now, like you cannot do the payments with the cryptocurrencies, etc. But it's coming up, and there will be the green lights for those. And once you have that, I think the main pain point over there will be calculating the risk. Because everybody would like to do that, but if you don't do it in a proper way, seeing all the risks and getting all your emergency plannings, then it will be a real big mess. We have to be honest with that. So for that reason, I know that there will be an exponential growth in this side, but when you're going to that road, you have to build it up really rock solid.
I'll follow up with you also regarding the next question. It's about the biometric payments of methods. They are becoming very popular, but at the same time, and in parallel with the rise of the AI, it's so risky. There's a lot of threats in using them. How can we ensure safety and security for users in this?
Well, there's too much debate going on with this, especially regarding the AI's ethical side. So area of expertise is not AI, but it's obvious from someone, whoever you ask. There are really high risks, both ethical and other sides. And for that reason, we shouldn't rush in because, it shouldn't be a bubble. Once everybody rushes in, and then the mess comes up. So one step at a time, that would be much more better, because if you have the rock, as I said before, that if you have the solid grounds, then you can build up anything, and sky is the limit over here. So you don't have to squeeze yourself in any boxes. But first things first, you have to see what's coming with those risks. You have to address them properly.
Mr. Nikola, you want to add something about that?
Can I play the devil's advocate here? Biometric payment solutions, in general, they offer you a certain amount of convenience, right? It's easier, it's faster, etc. But at what cost does that come?
Yeah.
Because I see two very, very big issues with that. Number one, I see obviously with data privacy, which is, it's always a huge risk, especially with biometric. And in general, if you have any kind of hardware involved, there's multiple attack vectors that unfortunately always, again, playing devil's advocate here, it always comes down to the human being. And the human being is the weakest link actually in that entire process because it's the most corruptible.
Yep.
That's the one part. The second part, where I see the biggest issue is that the misuse of that data that would then lead to AI advancements, because that training somehow would be able to be reused again against us as users. So for me, biometric disadvantages is quite risky.
Yep. Very risky.
Thank you. Mr. Evren, as Mission Bank, I'm sure that you're facing the same challenges also. So what do you have to add about that? About the risks, the threats, and how can we protect our users?
Yeah, of course, usage of biometrics and AI for banking is starting from the KYC area. Yeah, so you need the most important thing for a bank is to know the customers, to approve that everything is compliant in terms of AML regulations, etc. So it's an important part of that. But moreover, when you enter into tokenization area, digital assets area, and the payments area, to use this, it becomes more important because you face challenges to know these customers and their transactions in which is maybe used in a global area, global network. And now you are faced to usage of money globally and customers linked to different customers in different areas. So when you do this, the important thing for banking becomes transparency as well as security. So there are some trade-off between transparency and security. So you need to increase the security with these new technologies, but then transparency becomes sometimes a problem for the customers. So this is, of course, always a problem of the banking as well.
You mentioned the tokenization, which is very important also. And I think we here in this community, we all know what is. But maybe to the other people, to the other side, how can you simplify this? And how the tokenization can benefit the digital payments in the future?
Yeah. Actually, the most important thing, tokenization brings different assets into small units, which is used in blockchain. So this makes the benefits, this adds benefits of using blockchain on this area. What are these benefits? I can count at least 5 main benefits. One is, of course, liquidity. So all the assets become liquid that can be used in payments, any assets, like assets, current illiquid assets like big real estates or big securities that are not tradable currently. Another thing is speed. Everything becomes, the payments becomes more speed with different assets that's currently not even transferable. Another thing is low cost. Currently, there are many intermediaries in payments area, including technological intermediaries, financial intermediaries, etc. Now they all disappear thanks to blockchain's decentralized feature. Other thing is, again, transparency, which is also a biggest benefit of blockchain, as well as security, where every transactions are approved in a transparent way. So this makes payments not only more easier and flexible, but also less costly and with high security.
Just to break the ice of the technological terms, I need to ask you, are you bearish or bullish for the crypto market?
I'm definitely bullish. So I'm in the market for 7 years now. So I see that the adoption of cryptocurrency is wider now, because 5-6 years ago I couldn't find even a bank in Europe or anywhere to just work together. Now there are many banks, crypto-friendly banks, and they're integrating with crypto services, not just banks, payment institutions and others. And now I see many merchants from different, I'm working with globally. So we have merchants in Korea, we have merchants in Latin, we have merchants in Africa, in Europe, mostly Europe, of course. So I see that there are new merchants from new markets, and banks are more crypto-friendly, and the governments are talking about CBDCs. So I see the adoption is growing, so it will bring this bullish environment soon. Of course, we are in the correction period again, never ending. So it's waving, but if you check the long term, you will see it's going up, right? Because I see the adoption one-to-one for years, so I'm bullish.
I'll come back to you regarding the CBDCs, but I will ask Mr. Nikola also, bearish or bullish?
I think everything comes in cycles. So not an easy question to answer right now. Wait, explain a little bit more bearish or bullish on what? On the entire sector, on Bitcoin?
On the cryptocurrencies in general.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm incredibly bearish on 99% of cryptocurrencies because they're absolutely useless. There is 1% that I'm very bullish on because they have been around and they have proven to be somewhat useful. But if you look over the entirety of the sector in itself, I would go with we could do more, we could govern more, we could support more, we could interact more in order to make sure that good projects, good founders, meaningful projects actually move forward rather than stuff which doesn't make sense. So you have to weigh both of those things. It's important to look at both sides of the medal. When I look at the technological advancements and the adoption ones, yes, I would be bullish. When I look at what I see in different parts of the sector, which projects are getting funded, how they're growing, what the adoption is like, I would say that I would rather be bearish.
Thank you. Mr. Anil, let's go to the CBDCs, which is the central bank's digital currencies. Do you think that the growth of adoption of the CBDCs will be like a threat for the blockchain and for the cryptocurrencies?
Actually, it's not optional. I mean, everybody will, I mean, all these players in the market, banks and payment institutions, others will be integrated with these CBDCs because the government is forcing everybody to do that, right? So it's already tested in China and Jamaica. So in China, it's tested in 25 cities, and there were 260 million wallets created, and over 1 billion transactions are created. They used it for the railways, for transportation. So I see that is coming, but what happens now, central banks got together recently. So what they are talking about, European Central Bank, US, and all got together to discuss what to do with the CBDCs. So it's a bit concerning because they want to control it, right? So it's a bit against the fundamentals of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies at the moment, because they want to control it, they want to set limitations, they want to check how you spend it, when you spend it, with what limits, and when, and on what, and they want to put negative interest, and they just discuss these topics. So 6 years ago, I was very optimistic about CBDCs. Now I'm just questioning that because there will be many limits and many blockings. with these CBDCs. And when I think about USDT or USDC, imagine you're a government, you wouldn't allow anyone to issue a stable coin anymore, right? I mean, it's a concern. We will see what will happen, but I don't think governments will allow these kind of companies to issue stable coins. So it's pros and cons, but definitely it's reducing the fees, it's faster. It's not going to be that transparent, but it will be a bit visible. And especially the payments between countries, and when you do these outbound payments, it will be faster, more secure maybe, but it will bring other negativities. So we will see.
Thank you. Mrs. Esra, I will ask you about the CBDCs also. You know that ECB is working on a digital euro, but there's a lot of challenges regarding that. We have infrastructure challenges and we have technological challenges, and at the same time geographical challenges, because maybe Europe can do it faster than Asia or faster than the MENA region or faster than the Latin America. How do you think is the next future of the CBDCs?
Well, CBDCs, it's a tough question actually. Why? So many debates and problems going on over there actually, because it's not an easy thing to do actually. Okay, talking for us is very easy over there. This should be like this, it should be like that, this should be what you look. But when you come putting that effort and trying to do the real infrastructure over there, there are so many different equations over there, and every equation has something different that affects it. So, and they're just like the domino effect. You have to think about it all, think about all of them at once. You have to organize them like a symphony, all of them. That's why most of the CBDC works around the globe when we look at today are just moving like the tortoise fast, you know. They're not fast, and they cannot be fast. In many of the countries, everybody has that innovative mindset. They want to do it, yes, but even when coming to the retail or on the wholesale way of selecting one of them, they are even stuck over there. It's just 101. So you have to go forward. But over there, we always say, you have to work with someone who knows about it, someone who can do the pilot for you. If you have the good roadmates with you, then you can do it. Otherwise, the main thing over there, I think, what mostly is being underestimated is the teamwork. Because everybody says, I can do this, and I can do it on my own. But in this ecosystem, if you want to survive and if you want to do some value add something, you have to do it with the other parties who are good. Everybody should put their best efforts in there. Otherwise, you cannot handle it. So I think this is the same thing going on with the CBDC dilemma around, because some countries started very innovatively, but now they're just keeping the pace down, they're just stopping it. They say we will re-see what, and the strategy, we will redefine the strategy, etc. And I am sure this is going to go for some more time like this, until the grounds are solid and valid. And what I understand is the governments mostly want to see who else is doing it. What is the pain point over there? Let's fix it and then do it. So everybody is waiting for each other, actually. So it's kind of like an endless loop, you know. Everybody is waiting for the other, and it's just going on and on itself. So it's just like the bearish or bullish question. It's like the chicken and egg dilemma also. If you don't have the bear, then you cannot have the bull. If you don't have the bull, then you cannot have the bear. It's more or less the same thing, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Sure,
may I
please.
continue from
Please.
Esra's point? Yeah, actually, currently more than 130 countries are working on CBDC. All the governors are aware of this. And let me tell you an interesting thing. We attended .0 forum last month as Misyon Bank, and there every year central bank governors of Europe and different countries around Europe working with Europe, as well as ECB governors were there. Biggest banks, biggest global banks were there, and they were discussing. This year's topic was mainly digital assets and tokenization and CBDC. And interestingly, maybe opposing to what you said, the small countries were more advanced and had did many things, more research on CBDC and development things beforehand. But ECB or old countries or bigger countries had governors working there maybe 40 years or 50 years, maybe you can say older people. They were still suspicious about, oh, what's blockchain, what's cryptocurrency, what do we have to do with cryptocurrency or CBDC? Isn't it too early for our central bank to adopt this? And they were, I was asking them, when you forecast, when you assume that CBDC will be used in Europe, they were saying, not for 5 years or 10 years. But the smaller countries were a better example for them. They were saying that next year we can go to CBDC. We have to use digital currencies in our countries. Europe should be transformed to this, etc. So maybe one of the biggest countries, as a good example, is China. But other than that, the leading countries will be smaller countries and less developed countries for this CBDC example.
I have,
something.
please.
Yeah, I agree with Evren. I checked this data, which country is already implemented it. It's Jamaica. So GEMDEX, they call it GEMDEX. It's already implemented in 2022, in I think April. So, and I checked the website. I wonder what they do exactly. So if you check the website, they have a Q&A, how you can use it. Even you can exchange your cryptocurrency to banknotes or banknote to cryptocurrency at the bank. So, and you can use it on e-commerce website everywhere. And they say, if your wallet provider allows you to use it, you can use it. So it's not just limited to banks or others. So if your wallet providers are already integrated with banks or central bank, you can use it. So it's already implemented and working. And Jamaica is not that big economy. And I mean, in Europe, it's not possible to act individually. But CBD, Nika is coming, so it's not possible. But the smaller countries, yeah, Jamaica is a great example. You can check that.
Okay, I'll ask you, Mr. Evren, about, 3 to 4 years ago, banks weren't that open to the cryptocurrencies or to anything related to the blockchain also. Why do you think that their speech now is becoming different, especially because we're seeing, even here in Turkey, we are seeing that some banks are working towards inserting crypto wallet in their system, and this is really notable. So why do you think they're changing now their tone towards the cryptocurrencies?
Of course, public demand is the first thing that's making banks to be in this area, but public demand was there maybe for the last 5 years. Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Okay. Do you have water?
Yeah, I need.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, but of course, regulation becomes more important for the banks and the financial industry because you can do nothing if the regulation is not there for the banks. Yeah. As an example, in Turkey, all the banks were waiting, all the financial institutions were waiting for the regulations to be issued. But once it was issued, all the countries, all the financial institutions, different countries follow the regulations when it's there, when it's issued. The banks quickly come to that because they know that people are waiting this, people are accepting this, and this will change the financial industry in the next 5-10 years. So I believe that when a regulation in a country is going better with secondary regulations, third regulations in a country, all the financial institutions will transform their payments, their investment systems, or other banking systems to blockchain soon.
My question here also is about the regulations, which is very important to the industry. I'll start with you, please, Mrs. Esra. How do you think that, or how do you urge governments to work on the regulations to grab investors to their lands, to grab liquidity also, and at the same time to protect these massive users?
Actually, the regulation is mostly, as we all know, focused on protecting the customer, protecting the user. So we still have that also in the regulation in Turkey. It just passed out, you know, and we see this effect so high. But this is just the beginning. Over there, what I see is there are so many different areas of work to be done. Like if you're an exchange, if you're a custodian, if you're doing transfer, OTC, many different types of services a company can give. But over there now, what we expect in Turkey, for example, is with the upcoming regulation, they're going to specifically divide all these fields of work. And the licensing will be according to the field of work you are in. But over there, I think the major thing that the regulative body should be looking at is segregation of duties and keeping it that way. I mean, if we want to protect the users, you know, we shouldn't follow the same disaster events and do the same. Like if you're in exchange, then what happened with most of the exchanges, the funds gone because they were already doing the custodian works also. So what we expect is them to create at least a Chinese wall in between so that you will be protecting. Everybody will be doing what their business is, not someone else's business. You cannot have it all. In here, you shouldn't have it all then because you will get more and more vulnerable over there. So on your pathway, on your field of work, yes, go ahead, do the best. But if it's someone else's field of work, either you divide it from here and do that, or you stop it and do that. So I think this is one of the main important issues in the regulation. And, you know, in this ecosystem, user is the king. So anyways, you have to keep that user safe, happy, whatever they want. We all want the same. We want it faster, we want it easier, we want it cheaper. That's all we ask for. So once if you want to give them this innovation, you have to create that equality of chances for everyone else. So what we see in Turkey now, the regulative body, they're going on that way. They are trying to help out the innovation now. They are pushing it from its back. So this should go on that way, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Nikola. You're well. I hope you're well now. It's okay.
Yeah, I just choked on my water, which was genius, but it happened.
Can we hear your answer about the regulations?
About?
Regulations is very important for the industry. So how do you think we can urge governments and financial institutions to work on it, to improve it in order to protect the users from a side and at the same time to maybe grab more investors from another side?
Well, you can't. Usually what we have seen in history is that when innovation picks up, it becomes over-regulated. Because people think that they know what they do regulate because they compare it to other things that they're already familiar with. But unfortunately, the devil lies in the detail, and that usually is overseen. So when we saw the first, especially in Europe, when we saw the first trials to put regulation into place, it miserably failed because the likes of large consultancies came in and started writing regulatory basis for a technology that they were not understanding back then. So that didn't work out. So they took a detour. They started implementing on smaller, what was mentioned also here, smaller countries scale. Legal frameworks like the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, for example, that we were also part of creating. That then, later on, after it was played around with, trialed, etc., became a basis for MiCA as we will have it now. So it was a big trial and error. It took way longer than expected. It still is not as it should be, but it's at least a move into the right direction. At the end, what does regulation do? It gives the person that has not been since 2011 in the blockchain space some kind of calmity and certainty that they will have a legal basis to claim something if something goes wrong, which is a good thing.
Thank you. I'm sure you have something to add about that.
It's my hot topic. So it's my hot topic recently. So because of MiCA, because our main entities are in Estonia, Lithuania, and Bulgaria, and we are expanding our licenses to Africa, Asia, and America now. So it's my hot topic. We have people everywhere now, and MLROs. So I'm discussing it almost every day. So MiCA is the leader, the law. So it's a law. It's not just about AML. It covers other things too, human resources, how you should have contracts with your clients, everything. It's a framework, law framework. So, and they broke this travel rule, if you heard it, in Europe. Is now in some countries you have to have this travel rule, some not yet, but it will be a mandatory when MiCA is in place. So you have to WASP, so virtual asset server provider to another provider, you should keep the data. Who is sending? Who is receiving? Is in the pool now. So government wants to know it. So there are many other things coming with MiCA. You should get ready. You need a year and the whole team to get ready for that. So the regulations are in Turkey, for example, is light now, and there are many islands they have light regulations. MiCA is very tough. I assume half of the crypto companies will disappear from Europe next year, early next year. The expectations are Q2. When I discuss it with my management and MLROs in Europe, how we see it, from our perspective, it's not a risk because we believe we will pass that checks with the regulators and we will secure our licenses. I mean, we already have the licenses, but we will secure it with MiCA because everybody is making a brand new application. I mean, it's tough, but the rest of the world will follow. So UK will be the second, US will be then other islands, they will follow MiCA. So you should check what MiCA is bringing. It's tough, excuse my French, but it's pain in the ass, but this is reality now. If you don't adapt, you will disappear, so.
Okay, only 3 minutes left. I need please to hear from you also. The last question is about, there is pain points that are hindering the digital payments from becoming more adopted on a wider scale. We have economic crisis, we have frauds, we have cyber attacks. What's missing now to make the digital payments more adopted and to spread them more? What's missing?
Should I start?
Yes.
Okay. If I look at it country-wise in Turkey, we are only waiting for the regulation. It's forbidden in here to use crypto as a payment right now. So we're waiting for that. Other than that, I think Turkey is ready for that.
But sorry, someone told me that it's already legal and they use Tether in the bazaar or in
You
a lot of
cannot
places.
use crypto as a way of payment in Turkey right now. It's banned in Turkey, but we are expecting that ban to go away hopefully soon, let's say. But when we look at the worldwide, I think over there the user experience is the critical part, because if user is the king, you have to take it and make your whole strategy around it when you're doing the infrastructuring or the strategy, everything. You should keep the user always on your focus.
Thank you. Mr. Evren.
Yeah, actually, when you look at the problem from payment side, there is no problem solved on payments industry. I mean, look, all of you can do every kind of payment everywhere globally easily. You can send your money globally easily with different instruments. You can make transactions with your cards everywhere. Yeah, payment problems are already solved in the world. The problem which is not solved is using investments. It's a problem of investments. Now you need to use investments, your investments in different areas. Investments are illiquid. Investments are untransferable currently. If you solve the investment problems with investment regulations like our capital markets board regulation in Turkey, then you allow digital assets, tokenization and cryptocurrency, make investments transferable to blockchain area, and which make your investments to different instruments like real estate, securities, etc., to be used in payments. This is not for solving your payment problem. This is for solving your investment liquidity problem and usage of your investment in different areas. So all the industries related to finance and payment and all the regulations on cryptocurrency payments should focus the investment-related issues to carry investments to payments.
Thank you, Mr. Nikola. In a short answer, please.
Okay.
What's your opinion?
robust and resilient technology, first movers, more capital, and regulatory frameworks that give at least a little bit of calmity to the users and security.
Thank you. Mr. Anil, please, your answer.
I mean, so I'm checking all these parameters around my organization. So I guess in the near future, cryptocurrencies will be more integrated, and we will see. I'm very optimistic about all these regulations, and I see cryptocurrencies, CBDCs all together with traditional finance, all together will work. And yeah, I'm just very optimistic, and I believe in blockchain technology is totally different. So we are discussing the payments, right? So in payments, I'm very optimistic with CBDCs, all these cryptocurrencies, and the integration between the traditional finance and new financial technologies.
Anil, Nikola, Evren, Esra, thank you so much for your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together to thank our esteemed speakers. See you again. Thank you.